In 1998, long before the open world revolution became a pillar of the video game industry, a small Japanese development team quietly released a title that was years ahead of its time. Mizzurna Falls, a PlayStation exclusive mystery adventure, attempted to simulate a real American town, complete with living citizens, scheduled events, and a narrative that unfolded based on real-time decisions. It was a game most players never heard of, a game locked behind language barriers and regional limitations. Yet, in retrospect, Mizzurna Falls stands as one of the most daring experiments of its generation, a game that foreshadowed where the medium was headed, even if it was ultimately forgotten by the mainstream. This video will explore the history, design, impact, and legacy of Mizzurna Falls, a project that dared to imagine gaming's future in a world that wasn't ready for it. Before we dive in, if you enjoy deep explorations like this, make sure to like the video, subscribe to Char TV, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new upload. To fully appreciate Mizzurna Falls, it's important to understand the environment into which it was released. In 1998, the PlayStation was at the height of its global dominance. Titles like Final Fantasy VII, Resident Evil 2, Metal Gear Solid, and Gran Turismo defined the medium's cutting edge. Story-driven games were growing more sophisticated, but the idea of a large, persistent open world was still considered technologically unfeasible. Most games of the era featured level-based structures or small, connected areas. The notion of a fully explorable town running in real time, with characters following independent schedules, was beyond ambitious. Even Shenmue, which would later be praised for similar features, was still in development at the time. In this climate, Mizzurna Falls was not just experimental, it was a radical outlier. Mizzurna Falls was developed by Human Entertainment, a Japanese company best known for the Clock Tower series. Human Entertainment had already demonstrated a taste for atmospheric, narrative-driven games, but Mizzurna Falls was their most ambitious project. The game was led by director Kazuya Asano and producer Hifumi Kono. Rather than follow the growing trend of linear horror and action games, the team chose to focus on immersion, atmosphere, and player-driven storytelling. The team set out to create not just a game, but an environment, a living town inspired heavily by American mystery dramas, especially David Lynch's Twin Peaks. Released on December 23, 1998 in Japan, Mizzurna Falls quietly entered the market with little fanfare. It was exclusive to Japan and never received an official translation, immediately limiting its reach. Human Entertainment itself would dissolve just a year later, in 1999. Mizzurna Falls would become one of its final and most obscure projects. The fictional town of Mizzurna Falls is set in Colorado, nestled between thick forests, winding rivers, and snowy mountains. The town feels distinctly American, with diners, gas stations, and residential neighborhoods that evoke rural 1990s America. Unlike many video game settings, Mizzurna Falls was designed to feel alive. Shops open and close according to the time of day. NPCs have routines, traveling between home, work, and leisure activities. The weather changes, day turns to night. The world moves on with or without the player. The map itself is modest by modern standards, but at the time it was impressively expansive. Players could drive across the town in a jeep, explore neighborhoods, and venture into the surrounding wilderness. Every location felt like part of a coherent whole, rather than a disconnected backdrop. The town is not just a setting for the story, it is the story. Every corner hides a clue, a secret, or a fragment of the town's troubled soul. The plot of Mizzurna Falls begins with the disappearance of Kathy Flannery, a local high school girl who goes missing under mysterious circumstances. Her bloodied boat is found abandoned near a river, and rumors quickly spread throughout the town. The player assumes the role of Matthew Williams, Kathy's classmate, who takes it upon himself to investigate her disappearance. What follows is a non-linear narrative in which players must interview townspeople, search for clues, and piece together a larger web of lies, betrayals, and hidden histories. The story unfolds over 7 in-game days. Each day passes in real time, with events occurring whether the player is there to witness them or not. If Matthew fails to gather critical information within the time limit, the opportunity may be lost permanently, and the story will move forward without it. Thematically, Mizzurna Falls delves into concepts of innocence lost, the corrupt underbelly of seemingly idyllic communities, and the desperation of youth faced with adult truths. It reflects the influence of Twin Peaks not only in aesthetic, but in mood, the same undercurrent of dread beneath polite small-town life. Mizzurna Falls is often classified as an adventure game, but its mechanics defy easy categorization. Players explore the town on foot or by car, speaking with NPCs, collecting evidence, and solving minor puzzles. Time management is critical. Because the world operates on a real-time clock, players must plan their days carefully. An important witness might only be available at a certain time. A location might only be accessible during specific hours. Missing a crucial event could derail Matthew's investigation, leading to alternate endings. The game's driving system is rudimentary, with awkward controls that often frustrate modern players. Dialogue sequences are extensive, sometimes stalling momentum. Combat is virtually non-existent, save for a few confrontational sequences that play out more like quick-time events. Nevertheless, the gameplay's imperfections are overshadowed by its ambition. Mizzurna Falls emphasized immersion over action. Its slow pace and quiet atmosphere demanded patience and attention to detail. In doing so, it captured something rare, the feeling of being trapped in a living mystery. For a PlayStation 1 title, Mizzurna Falls is a technical marvel. The developers pushed the hardware to create a seamless, semi-open world environment with minimal loading screens. The dynamic day-night cycle, weather effects, and NPC routines were unprecedented at the time. However, the ambition came at a cost. The game suffered from frequent frame rate drops, texture pop-in, and occasional game-breaking bugs. The graphics, while atmospheric, were rough even by 1998 standards, with stiff character models and basic animations. The localization barrier also contributed to its obscurity. Without an English release, Mizzurna Falls remained accessible only to Japanese speakers, or dedicated importers willing to navigate the game with little guidance. In recent years, fan translation projects have sought to bring the game to a wider audience, but even these efforts have faced challenges due to the complexity of the game's coding and the difficulty of modifying its tech systems. At the time of its release, Mizzurna Falls received little critical attention. Overshadowed by major AAA titles and hampered by its Japan-only release, the game sold modestly and faded into obscurity. However, among collectors, retro gamers, and historians, Mizzurna Falls has gradually attained a cult status. It is often cited as one of the first attempts at creating a truly open-world narrative experience, predating Shenmue, 1999, Grand Theft Auto 3, 2001, and Deadly Premonition, 2010. Its influence is hard to quantify, given its limited exposure, but its design philosophies resonate with later developments in gaming. The living world concept, time-sensitive narratives, player-driven investigation mechanics. Games like Life is Strange and Deadly Premonition feel spiritually aligned with Mizzurna Falls, even if they evolved in different directions. It is impossible to discuss Mizzurna Falls without acknowledging its debt to Twin Peaks. David Lynch's seminal television series had a profound impact on Japanese creators in the 1990s, particularly in the fields of video games and animation. Mizzurna Falls mirrors Twin Peaks not just in its setting, a small town filled with dark secrets, but in its tone, the juxtaposition of everyday normalcy, with undercurrents of violence, mystery, and surreal melancholy. Like Twin Peaks, Mizzurna Falls treats its setting almost as a character in itself. The trees, rivers, and snow-covered streets are more than backdrops. They are woven into the fabric of the story's emotional landscape. Rather than copying Twin Peaks wholesale, Mizzurna Falls reinterprets its atmosphere through a uniquely Japanese lens, blending Western storytelling with Eastern sensibilities about fate, community, and personal responsibility. Despite its innovation, Mizzurna Falls was destined for obscurity for several reasons. Language barrier. Without English localization, it remained locked to a small regional market. Technical flaws, frame rate issues, and buggy mechanics made it difficult for players to fully engage. Market timing. released at a time when action and spectacle were increasingly prioritized over quiet storytelling. Company collapse. Human Entertainment's dissolution in 1999 meant there was no opportunity for sequels, ports, or marketing expansions. As a result, Mizzurna Falls became a lost chapter in gaming history, a work ahead of its time, unrecognized by the larger industry. In the past decade, with the rise of retro gaming communities and translation projects, Mizzurna Falls has been re-evaluated. What was once dismissed as an obscure relic is now seen as a prophetic glimpse into the future of narrative design. Fan efforts, including partial and full English patches, have allowed a new generation of players to experience the game. YouTube retrospectives, scholarly articles, and fan discussions have further cemented its place as a cult classic. In many ways, Mizzurna Falls' delayed recognition mirrors its themes: hidden truths, overlooked details, and the slow revelation of deeper layers. Today, Mizzurna Falls is celebrated not because it was perfect, but because it dared to dream at a time when gaming was not yet ready for such dreams. Mizzurna Falls is not just a fascinating footnote in gaming history. It is a testament to creative ambition in the face of technical and market limitations. It represents a path not taken, an alternative evolution of open-world storytelling based on intimacy, atmosphere, and patience rather than size and spectacle. For those willing to embrace its flaws and navigate its quiet, snow-covered streets, Mizzurna Falls offers a rare experience. A world that feels both hauntingly real and tragically incomplete. It is a reminder that sometimes the most important innovations are the ones the world isn't ready to recognize, at least not right away. And perhaps in the silent roads of Mizzurna Falls, some part of gaming's future still lingers, waiting to be discovered once again. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please like the video, subscribe to Char TV, and turn on notifications for more thoughtful explorations like this one.